This is a presentation of Cancer Risk of Tanning Machines by Kim Fan. This is for a biomedical summer workshop. As for background, tanning machines are Class 1 medical devices, making them subject to few regulations and little oversight. They emit both UVA and UVB rays, which damages the skin, and if untreated, it can lead to cancer. It can also cause premature skin aging, the changes in skin texture, and increased risk of potentially blinding eye diseases. It has been linked to melanoma, basal cell carcinoma, and squamous cell carcinoma, as well as cancers in the eye. Both tanning indoors and outdoors are dangerous, and we're focusing on indoor tanning, which emits high level of UV radiation in a short period of time. These are the most common types of skin cancer: melanoma, basal cell, and squamous cell carcinoma that we will focus on. For melanoma, it's the deadliest form of skin cancer, and one way to know if it's melanoma is to check for if it's asymmetrical, border regulation, differences in color, and 1/4 inch diameter. And indoor UV tanners are 74% more likely to develop melanoma. And tanning indoors for more than 50 hours can increase the development of melanoma by 2.5 to 3%, to 3 times more likely. Basal cell carcinoma is the most frequently occurring form of skin cancer, and other than tanning indoors, it can come from the contact of arsenic, exposure to radiation, open sores that resist healing, chronic inflammatory skin conditions, and complications in the skin. More and more people in their 20s and 30s are being treated for this type of skin cancer, and people who have had one basal cell carcinoma are at risk for having others over the years. In most cases, it could have been prevented if the victim had not tanned indoors. And tanning indoors would work by UV rays hitting our skin and damages the DNA in the cells of our skin, and our body tries to repair the damage, but the rays repeatedly hit our skin, so the body cannot repair the damage. And that's the picture of what basal cell would normally look like. For squamous cell carcinoma, anyone who has had basal cell carcinoma are also at risk for developing squamous cell carcinoma. It is at least twice as frequent in men as in women, and it is rarely seen before the age of 50 and often seen in individuals in their 70s. Sources come from tanning machines, burns, scars, ulcers, long-standing sores, X-ray or certain chemicals, chronic infections, and skin inflammation. Usually looks like this as a persistent, thick, scaly patch that can bleed if bumped. It often looks like a wart and sometimes appears open sores with a raised border crusted surface over pebbly base. And for ocular melanoma, it's melanoma in the eye, and the risk is often rare, but dangerous. Cancer was greater for subjects who started indoor tanning before the age of 20. And it begins with the appearance of an irregular mole, as seen here, and it's called dysplastic nevus. And so for some other eye conditions can develop from using tanning indoors are treatable, such as photokeratosis and photoconjunctivitis, which is inflammation in the cornea and photoconjunctiva. However, chronic eye problems can develop. This includes cataracts, an eye disease that causes impaired vision, and pterygium, with flesh-like growth on the eye surface. Tumors can also develop on the surface of the eye as well. For a personal example, this is a former Miss Maryland, and she's a cancer survivor. Her name is Brittany Cicilla, who began indoors tanning in the age of 17, and she stopped at the age of 20 when she was diagnosed with melanoma. She says, growing up, until I've used standing beds, my parents are very strict about me wearing sunscreen. And after being diagnosed with melanoma, she says, I don't want anyone to go through the same experience I've gone through. Skin cancer is a preventable disease only if you take the precautions to make it preventable. And effects on the skin, there's 2 types of tanning, immediate and delayed. Immediate is when the result of darkening of pigment, melanin, that is already present in your skin. And delayed tanning is the result from increased number, size, pigmentation of melanin granules, and it causes the skin to thicken. It can also cause premature aging, and this is a picture of someone who has indoor tanning addiction, and it shows both immediate and delayed and premature aging with wrinkles in a short period of time. Effects on the body. There's immune suppression when UVB radiation suppresses the proper functioning of the body's immune system and the skin's natural defense from bacteria. Some who are especially sensitive to UV radiation may develop an allergic reaction, and it is possible to get a sunburn in a tanning bed. And your eyes are increased risk of developing cataracts and corneal burns and other cancers, as we said before, with ocular melanoma. There is no federal law to ban people from using tanning beds, and this shows in the Midwest, there's no known state law prevents people from going to tanning beds, and states like California, Nevada, Oregon, Texas, Illinois, and Vermont have a ban under the age of 18, and the rest of the states vary from having parental guidance to having a ban under the age of 17. For skin pigmentation, MED is the measurement to report an amount of UV radiation needed to induce a sunburn in the skin 24 to 48 hours after it is exposed. The fairer the skin, the easier it is for UV radiation to cause a sunburn, and that's because the fairer the skin, they express low MED levels. On the Fitzpatrick scale, there are 6 phototypes, and they correlate with the epidermal melanin, with the UV phenotype, and the melanoma risk. And for phototype 1, Northern European British, they show the lowest melanin in their skin, and they are UV sensitive, they burn rather than tan, and they have the highest melanoma risk. And like for them to go indoor tanning, it's difficult for them to tan because, well, they show the lowest melanin and they're UV sensitive, they burn rather than tan, so they have to have many sessions of indoor tanning to get the results they want, and that's why they show the highest melanoma risk compared to African or Aboriginal, with the highest epidermal melanin in the skin. They are UV resistant and they tan rather than burn, and so they have the lowest melanoma risk. Statistics in the U.S. Indoor tanning is thought to cause 419,000 cases of skin cancer each year, and that's almost double the times of comparing to smoking's 226,000 cases of lung cancer each year. Of those who tan, 13% are high school girls, 21% of high school girls, 32% of girls in 12th grade, and 29% of white high school girls. It's important to know when people start tanning and who, because they're mostly our peers. And for skin cancer rates for men increased 4.5 times, and as for women increased 24 times. For treatment, it's crucial to treat early before it turns to melanoma. And some treatments are radiation when cancer cells are killed by X-rays. Most microscopic surgery is a micrographic surgery is a microscopic surgery when surgeons remove tiny cancerous cells by shaving away each layer until the cancerous cells are removed, preserving healthy tissue. Cryosurgery is when the cancer is frozen and then removed, and electrosurgery is when the cancer is dried with an electrical current and then removed by the surgeon. Prevention, other than just avoiding tanning machines, is to minimize outdoor during the peak UV hours from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. to seek shade as much as possible. Use sunscreen with the sun protection factor above 15, and make sure to apply repeatedly, especially with swimming or sweating. Avoid getting a sunburn because more than 5 sunburns double the risk of getting skin cancer. Early detection. Check the body at least bi-monthly by staying in front of a full-size mirror to check for any irregular spots, especially for its color, size, border, and growth. If there is anything unusual, just contact the doctor and ask for tests if there is a problem. For conclusion, the Food and Drug Administration and the Center of Disease Control both suggest that you avoid using tanning beds in order to prevent developing skin cancer. There is no such thing as a safe tan from a tanning bed. It's time we rethink our position on standards of beauty. A tan is not beautiful. It's a walking advertisement for skin cancer. And so I thank you very much for listening. And my name is Kim Pan, and I am from Del Norte High School, class of 2015.